since we had a rain in Charlotte last Saturday, let's cross our fingers and make sure there are no tornadoes, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
And with us again in another episode is our good buddy Patrick Codo from the Codos Mojo podcast. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Of course, Ian. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you, my third co-host of Codos Mojo.
Yes, I'm very excited to join the Codos Mojo family. So make sure to check out all episodes of the Codos Mojo on all podcast platforms. So, guys, we are digging into Kinzel's classroom. Professor Kinzel, take it away, buddy.
Saddle up, boys. Class is back in session. Welcome to another edition of Kinzel's Classroom here on the Stock Car Spectacle. Well, boys, the round of 8 is here. So you know what that means. It's time to predict the championship 4. I'm calling this one Group Project today.
All right.
Our goal today, we are going to dissect and figure out our championship 4. One amongst all of us, one grid amongst all of us, 4 drivers going to the championship 4. It's down to Harvick, Hamlin, Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Martin Truex, Alex Bowman, and Kurt Busch. So before we really get into this, it's almost like we can put 2 drivers in as almost locks right now, and I'm talking about Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. So I'll get this one out of the way early. Are those 2 getting into the championship 4, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
We don't even have to get into that. So right now, that's pretty easy so far. We've already got 2 out of our 4 championship 4 drivers. So now it's where it gets fun, because now we're down to Kez, Elliott, Logano, Truex, Bowman, and Kurt Busch. So let's talk about Brad Keselowski here, guys. What do we see with Brad Keselowski here? We'll go with Mike to start driving.
All right, so for me, Brad K's had a pretty good start to the year. He's done a lot better than I thought he's done, or than I thought he would do. With the new crew chief swaparoo over there, I thought he kind of got the short end of the stick with Jeremy Bullins. But we've talked about this before too. Sometimes it's all about that crew chief driver relationship, and those 2 seem to get along really well. Things are working very well with that 2 team between Jeremy and Brad. I don't know if he's a guy that could get into the championship 4. I think he's a finalist for one of those last 2 spots, and I think he could, but he's not a guy I'm really prepared to say is a lock. You look at the last couple racetracks, the Penske cars are usually pretty fast on the 1.5 miles, so he's going to have a chance at Kansas and Texas both. And he's been pretty decent at Martinsville in his career as well. So all 3 tracks are decent enough opportunities for him to get into the championship 4. However, I think he just misses. I think he's the 5th driver, in my opinion.
Okay. I got to say, I think Brad Keselowski will be in the Final 4 this year. He has put on quite a performance this year. He has 4 wins this year, and we're used to him getting those 3 wins and then kind of lose it towards the end. But he has looked really, really hot in these playoffs. So I got to say that Brad Keselowski is definitely going to be in your Final 4.
Patrick?
Yeah, no, I see Keselowski definitely in the Final 4. He definitely, took a big step this year. And look how some of his races came to an end. He was in a right place, right time situation. Earlier this year, he won 2 races where he wasn't even in position to win. Like, there was one where Chase Elliott made a big mistake and went on the pit road when we had the caution with 2 to go. Keselowski stole the race. Then we had Chase Elliott and Joey Logano get to the wall in Bristol. Keselowski sped by them, won that race, and of course, Keselowski got win number 4 in a playoff race too. Like, this man is hungry for a title, looking to get his first since 2012.
Yeah, it's been 8 years.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think Brad Keselowski is going to find his way in there. I think it's really weird that I'm labeling him as this, but he could be that kind of dark horse guy to go in there and win this championship.
He's been racing
because it's going to be really hard to beat Harvick and Hamlin at Phoenix. But if there's one guy who could do it, I think it's Brad Keselowski. And like Mike said, mile and a half. That's going to be his best chance at getting a win. I think Brad Keselowski's going to go and win Texas and advance himself into the championship 4. And I think that's going to put him in a good position going into Phoenix. And I think he could be your dark horse championship winner right there. So moving on, Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Let's get this rolling. What do we see for Chase Elliott? Guys, take it away.
I think that Chase, with the kind of year that Chase Elliott has had, I mean, right now this is looking like his best season so far. We've seen him up front for almost every race so far this year. He has looked so damn fast. We're going to a lot of tracks that he's good at. He's really, really good at Kansas. We've seen him get a win there. We've seen him almost get a win at Martinsville a few times, at one time involving the Denny Hamlin incident. He was leading that race. He looked really fast. So I definitely do see Chase Elliott going into the Final Four. Your top 4 right now is my Final 4 in the championship for the race at Phoenix.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Chase Elliott makes the Final Four this year, especially with the glaring absence of Mr. Kyle Busch. I think that's what helps him out a boatload here. Ian, you hit the nail on the head with this one to me too. You've got Kansas, a track that he's won at in the past. Martinsville, a track that he's proven to be very, very talented at. Maybe doesn't have the win to back it up, but just like you said, he could have won here a couple different times. So that being said, I think you look at the field, who's left. There's only 1, maybe 2 guys outside of the championship 4 that are the 4 right now that I think could sneak in. But I don't think any of them leapfrog Chase Elliott. For me, he's my 3rd driver in the playoffs to make the championship 4.
Patrick?
What can I say? I am also on the boat of Chase Elliott. Like you guys mentioned, he's been up front almost a lot. He won a race at Kansas. And also, his late push at the end of the year helped. Obviously, he got the road course win at Daytona. He also got the road course win in Charlotte. I definitely see him making that the Final Four. And like this, this weird year, he had so many chances. Well, yeah. It's playoff time though.
I'm going to say no. I don't think Chase Elliott is going to make the Final Four.
Really?
He has been in this position ever since he's come up to the Cup Series, and we've been in this playoff format. Chase Elliott always coughs it up in the round of 8. Look back at the recent years. Yes, the Denny Hamlin incident, but that's just 1 year right there. He puts himself in this good position, and he can just never capitalize. And with Alan Gustafson, he's a hit or miss crew chief right there. And I just don't know if I could see Chase advancing. He's got great opportunities to go out and do it with Kansas and then Martinsville, where he's got tremendous speed. But in the end, I don't know. That ain't no more road courses for you, Mr. Elliott. And I think it's going to take a win to advance yourself into the championship 4. I know there's going to be 1 spot in on points, but at the end of the day, I just don't see that man being Chase Elliott.
Well, my only counter argument to that would be this. Chase Elliott's still very young in his career. People don't realize he's still, was he 24 years old, maybe?
24, just a year younger than me and Ian.
There you go.
Old, excuse me.
It's not like he's Clint Boyer, who's at the end of his career and still the bad luck guy. At some point, championship drivers make that jump to the next level. You've seen it in other sports. The 84 Bears had to lose in the NFC Championship to make it to the Super Bowl. The 2009 Blackhawks had to lose in the Western Conference Finals before they made it to the Stanley Cup in 2010. At some point, you have to get there to get the experience, to know what you need to do to get over that next hurdle. I think Chase Elliott's really poised in his career for now to be that time that he finally does what he's got to do to make the championship 4 round.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what happens. All right.
See, indeed.
Let's talk about the 22 car of Joey Logano. So at the beginning of the year, Joey Logano got off to a really hot start. He won that race at Phoenix right before the COVID break. But ever since we really came back, Joey Logano has not had race winning speed. He finished second at the Roval, but that's a road course. No more of those. He just kind of had a down year. Only 9 top 5s this year for the 22 car. It's just really not what we're used to seeing. So with that being said, Joey Logano, a guy who makes it into the championship 4? Because I personally say no.
I'm going to have to agree. I think it's no, but I think he's your biggest threat also, too, because he also has that ability to come up and sneak up and steal a win away when you least expect it. He had to win his way in 2 years ago when he won a championship. And he, as we know about Joey Logano, he is not afraid to do what he's got to do, roll those sleeves up, and get it done. So he'll move you, he'll wreck you, he'll do what he's got to do to get to victory lane. The man only cares about winning, and everything else is secondary. So if there's anybody that's going to come up and win a race to, to punch a ticket that you may not expect, for me, it's Joey Logano. I ultimately think he does miss the championship 4, but I think he makes it pretty tough on some of these guys.
Yeah, I already have my championship 4 set, but like you said, Joey Logano has just looked very, very slow ever since we came from the pandemic break. What, 5 top 5s? Is that it?
9.
9 top 5s, but still, championship caliber driver like Joey Logano only getting 9 top 5s this year. That's just kind of unacceptable for a guy in the 22 car. So that a big no for Joey going into the Final 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. Like, I feel like I feel like it's not just Logano, but I feel like the pandemic really caused a lot of downfall for a lot of drivers. Obviously, when we came back, there was no practices, so that hurt. And
yeah, I mean, you look at guys like Kyle Busch too. He heard a lot from here. So
you want to talk about downfalls? We're going to talk about the next guy on this list. That's a 19 car, Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. has only been to victory lane once this season. It was at Martinsville, but other than that 19 car, something's just missing with them. Yes, they're still having a pretty solid year, 13 top 5s, 20 top 10s, but this is the round of 8 here. This is the round where you're really gonna have to win to advance. You don't want to have to rely on getting that last spot based off of points, because we know at least one guy is going to get in based off of points, but you don't want to be that guy. So you really have to try and go out and win these things. So Martin Truex Jr. with 1 win this year, he's got all the opportunity to do it, but does he do it?
I gotta tell you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I gotta tell you, the one thing that he is missing is Cole Pearn, because when him and Cole Pearn came together when they were in Furniture Row Racing, Martin Truex Jr. looked like a totally different driver from what he used to be. He completely turned it on. He won a championship with him, absolutely dominated the 1.5 miles a few years ago, and then Cole Pearn left at the beginning of this year, and like you said, Martin Truex Jr. only has 1 win. And that came at Martinsville, which, he is really, really good at the past few years. So he could come and win that race, but he just does not have that race-winning speed anymore without Cole Pearn.
See, I think he's your last championship driver. You got him. He's still Mr. 1.5 miles. What's he got? 5 runner-ups again this year in the 1.5 mile racetrack. Yeah. He's been absolutely lights out there. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the wins to show for it, but he's been lights out in the 1.5 miles once again. So coming into 2.5 miles in a place that he's already got a win here, almost punched his ticket until Mr. Logano moved him in 2018, which it didn't matter anyway. Obviously, he was going to be there no matter what. But these are 3 phenomenal racetracks for Martin Truex Jr. You look at the field versus those last 2 spots. If there's anybody that's going to point their way in out of those, out of who's left, for me, it's Martin Truex Jr., and he's going to have every opportunity to seal a victory to get himself there as well. I feel very confident he's going to be one of your 4 champions here. You just can't ever count him out.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Pat?
Yeah, I mean, besides the one win at Martinsville, not much has happened for Mr. Truex. But again, it's 2020. Anything can happen. He could easily sneak in. I mean, Denny Hamlin, he barely got in last year.
Yeah, we'll
exactly.
We will see what happens. So this guy, the 88 of Alex Bowman, you guys are gonna think I'm nuts here. I have Alex Bowman advancing to the championship 4, and here is why. So first race we're going to is Kansas. Alex Bowman almost won Kansas last year, and Alex Bowman got his first career win at Chicagoland Speedway, the sisterhood track to Kansas Speedway. So I see Alex having a really good run there. Texas is going to be iffy, but he still runs pretty well there. And then we go to Martinsville. Martinsville, he looked really good earlier this season. I know he's been on kind of a decline, but I feel like ever since he got that news that he's going to be driving that 40, a little bit of burst of momentum has come in for him. And guys, if he does find a way to go, we're going to Phoenix. And when he took over for Dale Jr., Alex Bowman almost won Phoenix. So it's a really good racetrack for him as well. So I called Keselowski the dark horse earlier, but I'm gonna change that. Alex Bowman's gonna be the dark horse in there. So if he goes out and wins, he could be a threat at Phoenix. So that's just my opinion on him.
See, I don't see it. I think we've talked about Chase Elliott being the guy that makes the round to 8, and then maybe doesn't know how to turn it around from there. Doesn't know how to take that next level. Alex Bowman's not even at that level yet of Chase Elliott in my eyes. I think he's done a pretty good job. Kind of, he lulled in the middle of the season, and he's kind of been coming back here recently. I think he's done a pretty good job. I think he's obviously going to be very reinvigorated from the new news of him moving over to the 48 next year and having full funding. So that's one less thing he's got to worry about. I don't think he's ready to make that championship 4 leap. I think you've got a bunch of sharks in the water around him and championship veteran drivers that are going to outpoint him and outdrive him because he's just not at that level yet. He's on his way. He's just not there yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mike, you said it perfectly. Alex Bowman, he's looked very fast lately, but I just don't think he's at that level where he's going to be entering into the championship 4. He's going to the 48. And we all know that is one great ride where Jimmy Johnson won 7 championships with. So we'll have to wait and see. He's still a young driver, but I can definitely see him making the Final Four in the future, just not this year.
Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, you've had guys like Martin Truex in 2015, his second year with Furniture Row. He snuck his way in there. And then don't forget about Ryan Newman in 2014, damn near won the championship.
How can we forget that one?
Yeah, how can we forget? How can we forget that one? But that's why I know I bash on this playoff format quite a bit, but it's excitement because you really just don't know what's going to happen. All it takes for Alex Bowman is to go to victory lane at Kansas, which he very well could go out and do. He finds himself in a position to win a championship. You just don't know what's going to happen. So really, the last guy we got to talk about here is Kurt Busch. I think we already almost have our championship 4 set here. So Kurt Busch, are we saying no on him, or what are we saying about Kurt?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a big no for Kurt, and that's saying that from a big Kurt Busch fan. Kurt is usually like that guy that gets 1 win a year now. He's no longer like a championship caliber driver. He's won a championship in the past, but age is just not working out well for him. I just do not see Kurt whatsoever going into the Final Four.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's going to be a tough road. Being in 8th place, he's already starting 21 points down.
Yeah.
So that's going to be with this group. We're not in the round of 16 anymore, where you can, if you're a strong car and something happens, you could probably already discount 3 or 4 guys you'll get ahead of just by running normal. If he runs normal and everybody else runs normal, he's out. So he doesn't have a points buffer. The opposite. He's got a deficit to start with. So he's going to have 3 incredible races. I don't think Chip Ganassi Racing's on that level, and I think he's kind of past that kind of performance in his career as well. I think he brings a lot of value to that team. The one car hasn't run well before he got there. I think everything that happens with Kyle Larson, it's been nice to have him to kind of, be your flagship driver for that team, and he's done a great job. But I think this is where his 2020 season's going to end, is in the round of 8.
Yeah, I see that too. I just look at these 3 racetracks and I look at Kurt Busch. They're just 3 tracks to me that I just don't see him getting it done. I mean, kudos to Kurt for getting a win at Vegas and advancing into this round. But I do think the luck is going to end here and the little magic's going to end here. It would be cool to see him compete for a championship, but I just don't think this is the year for that. So with that, you boys have anything else to say? If not, our grid is set, and we're gonna next week on Kinzel's Classroom, we're gonna play some Who's Hot, Who's Not, and we're gonna go from there. So, if you guys don't have anything else to say, class dismissed.
It's just going to be a wild, wild round of 8. I can't wait to see who makes it into the round of 4.
Yeah,
Since we had
absolutely.
rain in Charlotte.
What's that, buddy?
Since we had rain in Charlotte last Saturday, let's cross our fingers and make sure there are no tornadoes. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
I don't
Yeah,
think
we don't
rain
need to
is
end up in
tornado.
Oz going to Kansas here, Toto.
Yeah.
So, no, like I said, I'm excited. We're coming into a couple really fun round. You're going to see a lot of really talented drivers here. The round of 8, you don't get any slouches. You don't really get too many guys that truly don't deserve to be there once you get to the round of 8. You've got some talented drivers in some different positions here. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the fact that we actually can have some argument as to who our championship 4 could be, I think bodes well. I think that's what makes it fun and exciting. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we're talking about next week coming out of Kansas, boys.
All right.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Stock Car Spectacle. We'd like to thank our special guest, Patrick Codo from the Codos Mojo, for joining us. You can follow Patrick on all social media platforms. You can find the Codos Mojo on all podcast platforms, so make sure to give him a follow. It's a great Chicagoland-based sports podcast. So make sure to follow me, Nick, and Mike on all social medias. You can find the Stock Car Spectacle on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe to us. Make sure to follow us on all podcast platforms. So that'll do it for us. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.